Shalom, Habarim. Hello, friends. Greetings and welcome to the program. Self-mastery is a subject matter that we shall be covering in great detail so as to be increasingly and permanently victorious in all areas of life, and so as to be able to win and win and win permanently and maintain very high levels of increasing health, wealth, and so as to be richer than rich forever. And that's exactly what we are, and that's exactly how it is. And so should you, and so it is, because welcome. Now look, I've got something very important to share with all of you. And it is something that is true. There is a time in life, and it's right now, okay? To be precise with you, dear viewers, guests, friends, visitors, family members, there are many particular times within the cycles of life where the most important and truly valuable and sort of mystical and actually truthful, super hidden, normally very hidden, and extremely precious, right? Wisdom and knowledge and realizations readily arrive in your human consciousness. And what it is it's right now. It's actually in a C period. So today, and listen, as a general rule, right? The first step to self-mastery is to identify your current position within the cycles of life. So right now, real quick, it's the 12th of February, 2026 at 6:25 p.m. on a Thursday evening. That's a daily period of C. A time for the realization of great spiritual truths and to be able to see very, very clearly through everything in life. And when there are great and important things and details of how life in the universe works revealed to you that normally would seem obscure or hidden or difficult to see or comprehend. So it's a magical, magi seer, seeing through it all, having real enlightenment type of a time right now for the next hours till like 8:34 p.m. Now look, it's a double negative short lunar unit right now, and I know what the annual life cycle period that I am in is, and I know what simple overall period of human life I am in, and I know what my soul personality is, okay? Just a quick word on what I just explained. It has to do with that there are about 9 different cycles of life that every human being, every one of us is in at any given point in time, and these need to be monitored so as to make the best and the most and the highest good basically manifest on an ongoing basis, okay? Now, that having been said, chill out, take a deep breath, relax, and be receptive, because you're about to be informed of things and of secrets and those things, wow, that make the biggest difference, the most powerful facts and details of how life, the universe, and the systematic order in creation works, and how we can use it and work it to our advantage, hopefully legitimately and in accordance with God's will, and wisely and happily live super healthy, super wealthy, actually in a state of permanent miraculous living. I'm talking about maintaining a miraculous state of existence with permanent plus perfect divine guidance, my friends and guests and visitors. This is important. Listen closely. So, based on where we are right now, okay, for example, where I am right now, And also based on where you, the viewers, see this from, what time it is in your life, what life cycles you're in, it's very important that you monitor them, you pay attention to the life cycles that you're in, and you live in harmony with them. Now, this is very easy. It's not hard. It's easy, and the benefits that come with this are massive. Okay, listen. Right now, something very, very magnificent has happened. I was actually just in a city, and I left the city to go out to the countryside so I could stand here and dictate and learn while I also make a tutorial. Because what happens is sometimes I'm trying to figure something out in life, and I go out by myself in nature, and then it's just like right now where I'm actually making a tutorial, because as I am looking for some miraculous divine inspiration and guidance so that I make the best decisions in my life, right? What I do is I make a tutorial out of it, and what happens is I'm getting divinely instructed and guided while I'm also revealing what is being revealed to me. So what I'm talking about now is that there's an eternal source of providence that's always supplying us in life. And basically what happens is that there's always a very good way to go and to move forward in business, personal life, and to make the best decisions in all areas of life, okay? Yet the key here is this. You have to be intelligently receptive to divine inspiration, or what could be classified as inspirations from like your higher self, from God within, or what's known as the cosmic mind. I would say the mind of God that is within us and that is one with us. In other words, at any given point, whatever you seem to be working on accomplishing in life, there is a way to accomplish it so that it works the very best for yourself and even for others in all of life, right? And how this happens and works on a daily basis has to do with being receptive to divine communication and inspiration and guidance. Now, the way that this happens is you have an idea and you realize something, and something becomes clear to you. And it just happened to me while I was on the train. I realized something. I realized, whoa, that's why that happened like that? I knew that that was technically possible. If that's the details of how that works, wow, hallelujah. Thank God Almighty that I now know what I know, because now I can apply this knowledge or wisdom that I got in the form of a divine idea or a divine insight, right, to further benefit massively, okay? So what's going on is that you have to be able to listen and to pay attention to what could be classified as God communicating directly to you in your sense of knowing in your heart and mind as pertaining to something. Now, if you do this, what happens is it's just permanently miraculous, because you're always basically able to make decisions and to do things a certain way in your life that is generally legitimate and wise, that just permanently and increasingly leads to your benefit and leads to the best possible things happening all the time. This is basically, quite simply put, living as a master of your life and destiny, and having security and certainty and guaranteed very, very good life and benefits and blessings that are good, right? Because you're always maintaining a certain stance or a steadfast posture of and with a little bit of prudence. And as everything happens, it all happens according to a certain system, and you are managing how it all happens by applying a little bit of wisdom practically, leading to massive ongoing positive manipulation or management of everything that goes on in life. Now, so this is almost like a fisherman who, it's like he puts out his net, and every time he puts out his net, everything that comes in no matter what it is, it's to his advantage and to his benefit, because he has a certain system of always catching the right things and avoiding the wrong things. Okay, this can be compared to this. So now, look, what's actually very imperative is that one makes decisions, okay, that are legitimate. Because, you see, I even have the tendency at times, like, as we all do and as we are human beings, right? There is a tendency that, for example, with a certain level of skill, that you can also manipulate others, okay? Yet, look, if you're going to manipulate anything in life, right, then manipulate it according to God's will and wisely, and guess what? You're doing exactly the right thing. Because what I'm saying is that there's a responsible way to have skillful mastery and have command over what goes on and everything that goes on, so that, see, you might think, oh, that's like manipulation. You're manipulating everything and everybody so that it works out best for you. Hold on a second. To be able to manipulate is not a negative thing, it's a good thing. It's almost like saying, okay, I know how to sail this ship so that the journey is beautiful all the time, and so that it's the best for myself and everybody else. So then it's okay if I apply practical skill and skillfulness, right, in my life. You see? Because the idea is that we reap what we sow. So we're supposed to do good and be legit and be responsible, and not take advantage of others, even though technically I know how, right? I still have to be responsible and accountable. In other words, you reap what you sow. So then recently I was thinking, and I realized, look, here's what you have to do, okay? Because there are things that appear to be challenging in life. Some of them have to do with expenses and covering basic living expenses and things like that, right? And improving one's like personal financial situation and so on, right? And doing it responsibly and legitimately, right? Okay, because we're supposed to do business honestly. We're supposed to be honest to God and to our fellow human beings and all this and all that, right? So, okay, there's a way to do this though. What one actually has to do is remember, and this is a very important thing, because there can be moments in life when one considers like skillful manipulation as an option for survival, right? That's normal. Well, what I said earlier, and the fact and the truth and what was revealed to me at a very critical moment of decision making was that, listen, there is more than eternally enough for everything, including yourself, all of your life, everybody's life. The entire, like the complete and total universe is completely provided with divine providence forever. It just has to be simply properly accessed. It has to be accessed. So if you do the right thing, right, basically according to God's will, and you're honest and you operate legitimately and skillfully, okay, even manipulating life and things from time to time responsibly, in a way that is responsible and honest and legit and in accordance with like the divine will and the system of how nature works, you're actually blessed and you're good, and it's all for the highest good all the time. Because we got to have this, like, one has to have a basic understanding of the fact that the truth is that there is enough providence available for everything and everyone forever. And it's like, it's almost like as you mete it out to others, so is it meted out to you. So like, if I use deception to accomplish something that I know how, what premise am I working from? An idea of abundance, of good, or is it a limited way of thinking? So it's like our own way of thinking has to be sufficiently intelligently circumspect so that we make the wisest decisions based on the universal truths and divine universal law and providence and God's bountiful loving kindness, right? So look, though, and now this is such an interesting thin line, though. See, having that type of a mindset and a motif and an operating mode, an ethical codex, and like operational ethics, well, one would think, well, look, if you're always, being so merciful and being good to others, even though you live in a world and not of it that is actually also dangerous and also actually potentially with imperfect in certain areas, right? How do you survive? How do you live so good? Well, it's because I'm blessed, because I do the right thing that leads to like the right things happening to me. Okay. So now at the same time, there's mystical revelations that happen, and you have to intelligently receive the knowledge from these mystical revelations, retain like the real, raw, fresh, divine wisdom that's revealed to you, because if you do this and you apply that wisdom, you're making like super progress in life. Like there's nothing that can stop you when you're divinely guided and inspired and instructed and intelligently receptive and operating that way. You just simply win and you gain and you go for it and you get it and you win and you win and you win and you live a life that is miraculous, okay? And it has to do with having a certain amount of knowledge. And now I think of the larger, sum of humanity. You have to learn self-mastery. This is so important for you. So subscribe, reshare, repost, retweet, subscribe to this channel, watch, learn, study, read the book, Self-Mastery and Fate with the Cycles of Life, right? And experiment safely and gain and live it up and be happy.